The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on a break!
with Ambar Garcia, Voch Lombardi, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, February 11th, 2025, Season 21, Episode number 107. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We're live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at lg.com/OLED Evo. We got our normal crew back today after Super Bowl. I know Amber and Tommy were both at Super Bowl doing their thing out there. And me and Voch, we held it down last week. I think we had a pretty good show. We did
phenomenal show.
We did
top 5 show.
So it was nice to have you guys back. I want to open the show with giving you both an opportunity to just talk about the sights and sounds of Super Bowl. I know yesterday Amber gave me a whole pitch like we need to have our whole team down there cover Super Bowl. There's so much opportunity. So I'm sure she had a great time. But tell me, I guess we'll start with you, Amber. Just talk about the experience, what it's like being at Super Bowl, maybe something that stood out to you while you were there covering the Bad Bunny press conference.
That's why she was there.
Make no mistake about it. That's why she was there. But go ahead.
Make no mistake about it. The Cowboys did not pay for me to be there.
We did not. She went on her own dime.
Mistake about it. It came out of my own pocket.
She went on her own dime. She wanted to go see.
She went to the
Bad
Super
Bunny.
Bowl on her own dime.
She wanted. You can't hide money. But she wanted to go and see the Bad Bunny interview. I mean the press conference, and she was
Historic.
can I get a day? And I'm like, oh, absolutely, as long as you cover something. I think you wrote something that day. I think you gave us some content.
I did. We had the Brazil news breakdown.
I can't afford to go to a regular Bad Bunny concert, let alone.
By the way, she went to Mexico to see Bad Bunny in concert. So let's just be clear. She is a Bad Bunny fan.
You accumulate points
Let me ask you this.
credit card.
Let me ask you this: if it was Leanne Rhymes doing the halftime show, you wouldn't have went, huh? You wouldn't have spent all that money to go there.
There's nobody else in the world I would have gone
but Bad Bunny.
Because of what he means and the historic moment and the historic importance of it. And anyways, we could do a whole show about that. But back to the Super Bowl experience. I mean, everyone and their mother and family and everything, everyone was there. Everyone was there. And I was telling Derek, we absolutely need to make a trip over there that is paid for from the Cowboys.
We're not going to make a habit of doing this annually on your dime, right?
No.
Yeah.
But there's so much content to get in Radio Row is insane. You have everyone, bunch of setups. You have people that are big time, little time, and all kinds of in between. And it's just really great. Just a great opportunity to network and talk to not just current players, but past players, people that have been here through the Cowboys, and just getting a different perspective. And there's always a topic happening at that time, something going on. Right now, even the Pro Bowl, it was the George Pickens. Where is he at with the contract and all that? Eventually, the news about the Cowboys going to Brazil broke later in that day that I was there. But just everything about it, you just have everyone that you kind of have worked with in the NFL be there at the same time. And just from even other teams and different industries, it was really cool to experience.
Yeah, I was very lucky to go to my second Super Bowl.
Okay.
Oh, I'm behind.
All right.
Goodness.
Young man has already been to 2 Super Bowls.
Whoa.
Emphasis on very lucky and thankful for the opportunity. But
no, you did a great job.
Thank you. I completely agree with Ambar. I think it's an awesome experience. And, the thing about the Cowboys is they're always relevant. There's always something going on. And now that the Pro Bowl is the same week as the Super Bowl and is being held in the same city, I think it incentivizes the reason for people to go and be there because, your players are on hand and the Cowboys, your former players are on hand, and these players walk around Radio Row, or there's really Content Row now because there's so much more than just radio and television setups. But It's always a pleasure to go there and see some of these former players. Got to talk to Sean Lee, Darren Woodson was there, and then the current players too. You know, George Pickens, Dak Prescott, and then NFL Honors comes around later in the week where you have three players who are up for awards: Solomon Thomas for Man of the Year, Dak Prescott for Comeback Player of the Year, and then Jake Ferguson for Salute to Service. And usually Jerry Jones and the family are there every year as well. He was there, talked to him a little bit on the red carpet. So San Francisco was a great city. It takes a lot to get around that city, but it was definitely
A lot of hills.
Yeah, a lot of hills and a lot of travel to navigate it, but it was a really good time.
A lot of DRUGS.
Oh, yeah, I've heard.
None that we partook in, to clarify.
No.
Okay.
It's
Let's say, what were y'all doing?
No, it's just. I mean, you mentioned the city. It's just. There's a lot of that happening in the streets, and it's just like it's sad. It's just very, very sad and depressing to see that situation.
It's in the hood, or it's like everywhere.
Everywhere.
Damn.
Yeah, downtown can get a little dicey. I mean, they just this was just, and obviously this isn't an indictment necessarily of the city, but didn't another San Francisco player get
Ricky Pearson
getting shot? No, I thought another one just
another
got
one?
shot
More
last
recent
week,
one, I think,
or week before last or something.
In San Francisco?
I can't remember. I thought it was in San Francisco, but I could be wrong.
He was shot in. Keon White was shot in the ankle after a reported altercation with Lil Baby.
I didn't know Lil Baby was involved.
Yeah, me either.
Well, allegedly involved.
What's going on?
I know.
What's happening here?
It's crazy.
Hold on.
Hey man,
Was not expecting that.
I'm just
headline.
saying, just keep your head on the swivel when you just rolling around
I live in Texas.
San Francisco. I guess.
I live in Texas.
No, but it sounds like it was a great time. Tommy, I will ask you this. I know you talked to a lot of different players, former players. What if you had one specific thing that someone said or a specific person that you talked to? What was one thing that really stood out for you from that week?
Well, I think my favorite conversation that I had was with Sean Lee, the former Cowboys linebacker, who is very optimistic about the Cowboys' future.
Yeah, I read that. He's all in.
I think the quote that kind of made me chuckle a little bit was, that he's thinking that there are going to be a lot of guys on the. I'm trying to find exactly the one where he said this defense is going to bounce back quick because the talent is there. I don't know if I would necessarily agree with that fully, but he played for the Cowboys. He's going to be optimistic, but he's just such a smart. He was a smart player during his time in Dallas, and he's such a smart individual. What I enjoyed the most was I asked him, what do you look for in a linebacker? Like, what makes the perfect linebacker? Because that's obviously such a huge need that Dallas has. He told me from a standpoint of skill set, a guy who's instinctual, a guy who's quick, a guy who loves to hit, and then ultimately from a leadership standpoint, a guy who always leads from the front. He's preparing constantly, who's trying to make his teammates better every day, and who wants to compete every single day. That's not going to get you only a great linebacker. It's going to get you great players. And one guy he pointed to that I think is the spitting example of that, and I think we can all agree, is Dak Prescott, who is just constantly has gotten praise for his leadership ability over the years. So really enjoyed talking to Sean Lee for the first time.
You know what's interesting about that comment? I know we kind of smirk when he's so optimistic, but I heard someone saying this. I think it was on Sean and RJ this morning on the radio, and they were talking about a mock draft that someone had done, and they'd mocked Sonny Styles to the Cowboys linebacker, and the person that mocked them to the Cowboys said that one pick for the Cowboys would make them one of the best front sevens in the NFL. And at first I was like, really?
That's exactly what Sean Lee was thinking.
That's what he's thinking. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, they got some really good defensive tackles.
That's what Sean, yeah.
Overshown's a really good linebacker if he can stay healthy. At this point, if you can get yourself maybe a pass rush or something, like just bring back Clowney, expect that Ezeraku's going to take a next step. Like, I don't know if I'd say best in the NFL. They certainly become competitive. Mm-hmm. So to that point, I don't know that I disagree that this defense isn't, like, let's not even talk about second. I think they got a lot of work to do in the secondary.
Sure.
But you look at that front seven, one or two players could turn that thing around and make that thing pretty good, right?
Sean Lee was an all-pro with Joey Ivy in front of him. You know what I mean? Like, he was going crazy with no defensive tackle help in front of him.
Sean could have stayed healthy.
If
he could have been one of the great. He could be like Luke Kuechly. He was that kind of player. He really was.
He was that kind of guy. And I just imagine what he would be like with this front, with these tackles that we have in Dallas now.
No doubt.
So I guess in Sean Lee's mind, he's saying, hey, man, if you get a linebacker that can, and I ain't going to say nothing about the coach that don't work here no more, but if you can fix those things with this, like you build defenses in the middle, you know what I mean? And you start with Quentin Williams and company, that's a fantastic start.
I think you're off to a good start. I think there's way too many ifs because you have ifs at pass rusher, you have ifs at linebacker because who knows if Overshown's going to be the same thing that he was now when he's got, 2 major knee surgeries. So would Sonny Styles help a lot? Absolutely. I mean, no doubt about it. But even still, I think you would need some guys. I've always stood on the table for they just don't have good pass rushers. They don't have good defensive ends right now. Donovan Ezeraku really is the only one that I think has a bright future. Sure, Jadeveon Clowney's good for now, but he's not getting any younger.
Sure.
And how much are you going to be willing to pay him in free agency if he's maybe asking for more than he should? So I think there are too many ifs away to say, okay, this is definitively one of the better front sevens in the NFL, but I think you're right that a couple of players can start to change that.
What I would counter that with is you look at the teams that were just in the Super Bowl. You look at a lot of teams that were in the playoffs this year.
Yep.
The strengths of their defenses weren't necessarily the pass rushers.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Defensive tackles.
Sure.
And that's an area where the Cowboys, I think, are really strong, maybe among the better teams in the NFL. The question is, can you get the right complementary parts around them? Linebacker, defensive end. Get some pressure from there. But make no mistake about it, I think the NFL has changed a bit. And you hear quarterbacks say it all the time. I'd much rather deal with a guy coming around the outside than have to deal with somebody collapsing the pocket from the inside.
No doubt.
And so I do think that, you can get by with pretty good defensive ends. I think you got to have great defensive tackles.
Let me clarify that a little bit. I think you need a good pass rush in general.
Wherever.
Fair.
There you go. There you go. I'm with you on that.
Seahawks have 6 sacks in the Super Bowl. Patriots didn't stand a chance.
Yep.
And their defense was just terrorizing everybody. And
no doubt about it.
The Patriots did the same thing. I mean, you look at Kayvon Chason, who was a fantastic player in college and had struggles to start in the NFL. All of a sudden just explodes onto the scene this year. So you're right. You don't necessarily need those top-end defensive ends, but you need a good pass rush. And the Cowboys did not have a good pass rush last year, even despite the talent that they did have at defensive tackle. So I think if they can develop that, then we're talking about, okay, this is a better front seven because that makes everything easier for your linebackers and that makes everything easier for your secondary.
Tomas, let me ask you this, and everybody at the table. Uchenna Nwosu, Boye Mafe, Tank Lawrence, of course, he was here for a long time, and Derek Hall. That's their edge guys. You know what I mean?
In Seattle.
In Seattle. On paper, I don't get fear from those guys. Now, when you say Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, some of the guys that was in the inside,
scary.
That's why I think it starts. I don't want to say nobody's name that don't work here no more. That's my New Year's resolution. Brad,
but you just always gonna say I'm not gonna say anything about
Brad
people that don't work here no more.
Brad Shannon fussed at me on Twitter, and I'm not gonna stop. Brad's gonna have to deal with me.
He tapped your hand a little bit. Like, young man, sit down.
Brad don't bother. Listen. I still would like to know, and I've said this on this show before, I'm just going to keep saying it again, but I'll say it in different ways. I just wonder who on this team could play, but because of the circumstances, they just didn't get the best out of those players.
Right.
We just can't assume that all these guys are bad. I ain't saying you saying this. I'm just saying, like, the general, we're looking at the Cowboys roster and we're going, oh, well, we need 7 starters because this guy can't play. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I was watching, what's my man played? Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe wasn't crazy coming out of Alabama. He wasn't drafted super high. He hasn't built this big profile, but Josh Jobe made a ton of plays in context of that scheme. I think you got guys on this team right now. Of course, we want to go and get as much talent as we can, but you got guys on this team right now that can make plays in context of a better scheme.
Well, there are a lot of guys that we know for a fact can play because we've seen it in the previous years. Now, where it sucks is for those younger players that you don't really have a really good evaluation on them because they were not placed in a position where they can thrive. So just in general, everyone on the defense did not have a good performance all year round. So I think that's where it hurts you a little bit with the younger talent that maybe you have those guys down in the a position depth chart, and you have question marks around them, and you're like, okay, well, we don't really know where they're at because based on the performance they put on tape, it's just not good. But nobody else's performance was good.
Sure.
Yeah, I look at teams like Seattle. I look at teams like Minnesota. You might even want to throw New England in there as teams that their defenses were pretty good, if not really good. And you look you just look at the names, and it's like the names don't necessarily match up with how good the defense was. And even in the Super Bowl, I think a lot of those sacks came from situations. There wasn't a lot of just four-man pressures. Yeah. Like, they were bringing guys, and they were bringing them all over the place. And I think they got in May's head. He had no idea where the pressure was coming from. Yeah. And before you know it was in his face, and he couldn't do anything with it. And so I believe the scheme matters. Sure. And so I think the most important and impactful thing the Cowboys can do this offseason will be to hire the right defensive coach.
Sure.
We will see if that's Christian Parker. But that, to me, is the most important thing, because that's one thing this NFL season has shown me is you can get great defense with pretty good players if you got the right guy calling the plays.
And the NFL now defensively is such a exotic pressure, different kinds of looks, and where you're making quarterbacks pre-snap not really know what the pressure is going to be. So you need to send pressure from all different kinds of places, and you need to rotate in the secondary, which is what Christian Parker does. They did a lot of cover 3 stuff in Philly where you start with 2 high safeties, but they can roll in all kinds of different ways. That's how you win in the NFL now defensively. You can't do the cookie cutter stuff on defense where it's 4-man rushes every play, and that's not a diss at folks who are doing that. But that's just quarterbacks are way too good nowadays at here's my first read. If it's there, I'm throwing it. If it's not, I'm throwing it 2. If it's not, I'm throwing it 3.
Tommy's so smart. Seattle pulled their outside corner, lined them up at nickel, and blitzed them in B gap. Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk about nobody that don't work here.
I saw that. Yeah.
We would never.
That's crazy.
We would never.
Yep.
So fantastic point.
At the same point, Witherspoon's a little bit different. He's a
good. But that's also taking advantage of the talent that you have and creating these moments. Like most teams, or I shouldn't say most, there are probably a lot of defensive coordinators out there that would say he's my best corner. I'm gonna keep him on the outside. I shouldn't do all this other stuff with him. I'm gonna keep him on the outside. The fact that they're willing to think, hey, what if we put him there and we actually blitz him through the B gap? Like, he's fast. Mm-hmm. He's got a good rush. Mm-hmm. Let's try it, and then you get good results out of it. I'm just saying. Like, I think it matters in today's NFL game how you can scheme your players in order to get them home. Because, as you said, it's not so much the pass rusher, it's the pass rush. That's the most important thing. Can you manufacture a pass rush? And I think that's way more sustainable than having 1 or 2 great pass rushers on your team.
Yeah. Mike McDonald, it made a lot of sense that he noticed that he was playing against a young quarterback that had trouble processing what was going on, and he kept doing some of that stuff. He didn't just let the young quarterback think and sit around all day and throw the football all day. I thought that was a brilliant move by him.
And kept throwing different things at him.
Different stuff.
Like, it was all kinds of guys coming at different moments from different angles, different places. It was I thought the story of that game really was Mike McDonald. I really do.
Did I hear right on the broadcast that he's the first defensive play caller as a head coach to win a Super Bowl? Did I hear that right?
That has to be.
That didn't sound right, but if that is.
Well, Bill Belichick was a defensive guy.
Was he the play caller?
Oh, you mean like was actually the defensive play caller? Yeah,
like he is calling the defense. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I got no issue being wrong.
Maybe as a young man.
Nonetheless,
I'm trying to think back. I don't know that I don't
Tony
know.
Dungy calls some plays.
That was a beautiful play call.
I don't think he was calling the plays. But I don't think he was calling the plays.
Sure. Google it, tell us. Google.
Yeah, you can always look that up. All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, I want to talk about George Pickens because there was a lot of talk last week about George Pickens. I want to dive into that conversation a little deeper and talk about what we think is possibly going to happen and what the best course of action is for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. As a Yeti ambassador and the official pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys, I proudly represent 2 of the toughest brands out there. My Yeti coolers are perfect for hot holding barbecue like smoked brisket and ribs, or keeping beer on ice on those hot game days. Customized with a Cowboys star, America's toughest coolers and drinkware are repping America's toughest team. Keep yourself in some good company and get your officially licensed Yeti Cowboys gear at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com.
Every day begins with a promise to work hard and to build a future. That's why we're here, providing the tools, expertise, and John Deere equipment you have relied on for generations to help you get the job done right. We're with you. That's our promise to you, because no matter the project or the challenge you're facing,
we're with you. We're united.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change. Just wear your Cowboys gear and save 25% on your oil change. No huddle, no overtime. Just drive in, stay in your car, and roll out. You'll be tailgate ready in 10 minutes flat. Keeping up with your car shouldn't be a tough call. Take 5 makes it as easy as calling the coin toss. Take 5 is the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit take5.com to find a location near you. Offer valid through December 31st, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Valid only at participating locations.
Back to the break.
Choose perfection. Choose LG OLED Evo. Check out the best TV in the game at LG.com.
Welcome back. We are in the second segment of the break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. The segment brought to you by blockchain.com. All right, let's talk about George Pickens. There was a lot of talk last week about him and his contract. I think George said at one point in an interview he's hoping for the best and would love to stay here in Dallas. He's maintained that during the season and the offseason. I know, Tommy, you talked to Jerry, and Jerry made it clear that he wants him to be a Cowboy. I think Steven has also said the same. They want him to be a Cowboy. And then the report came out, which I don't think was a surprise to anybody because that's just the nature of how NFL business works and free agency. But a report came out from Adam Schefter saying the Cowboys are expected to use the franchise tag on him. Here's my question for you guys. The first question. Yes.
Can I ask a different question before that one?
Sure.
People hate when I do this.
I don't know where you're going with this,
will.
But if you take part of my, if you take me down the road that I don't want to go down yet.
No, it's still in the same topic.
I know, but I'm okay.
I doubt you're
careful.
Gonna ask this question.
Right.
I highly doubt.
Be careful.
That's crazy. Chat about to be phony as hell because they about to let you do it, but they hate when I just jump in.
No, go ahead.
Because you jump in all the time. I do it with purpose.
Let's see what she's gonna do.
Purpose.
And
Mine is thoughtful.
Before anybody answers,
I do nothing for no
before anybody answers, I will let you know whether you're allowed to answer or not. So go ahead, ask your question.
That's crazy.
Okay, my thing is, I just wanted to get something off my chest first before diving into that. Because, so we heard the comments and the little videos that happened during the Pro Bowl with Pickens and CD was in there and Micah Parsons in the back and all that. Then, NFL Honors at the red carpet, Tommy got a chance to talk to Jerry and he gave a quote. And I was looking at the article and translating it for Somos Cowboys. As I'm translating, I'm like, okay, Jerry said he's looking forward to start the conversation with during the negotiation. And I was just like, it stopped me for a second and got me confused because I'm like, what do you mean to start? So like in my head, this is already happening weeks ago. Like I'm thinking these are conversations that are already in the works. And when I heard that specific comment, to me personally, it stood out in the sense of what are we doing? Why has this not come? Like, what do you mean starting a conversation? And it hasn't happened just yet.
And but they ain't had nothing to do with what Derek was talking about.
I know.
Nothing. Well,
no, but go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What I'll say to
what
that,
you wanna do.
I'm not.
It's CD, and then he's gonna get into the
that's
franchise
fine. This
tag.
is a fair question, and it can be a
It's
precursor.
gonna lead to his. I promise.
It's a precursor.
It is a fair question,
Yeah.
and what I would say is I'm not here to tell you what negotiation strategy is right or wrong, but typically in these situations, this is across the NFL, the NFL Combine, which is coming up in 2 weeks, is usually the starting ground to have those initial contract
Especially for big
negotiation
deals.
talks, especially with bigger deals, because the Combine is everybody in the NFL is there. You've got 330-something players, I think, who got invited today. So their agents are going to be
All the
there.
representatives, yep.
Executives will be there. Head coaches will be there. So everybody, it's kind of just a massive conglomerate of people that all get together.
It's a football convention.
Yeah, essentially.
It's a football convention.
And it sounds great. I hear what you're saying, because that's kind of where these conversations start happening at the Combine. But my perspective is based on recent history of how things kind of have gone downhill. I would be, if it was me, again, I'm not in that role. I don't know how those things work. But if it was me, based on what recently occurred, let's say with even Micah, I would start as soon as possible, because you know that's happening. Like, that his deal is up. He's about to become a free agent. You either do the franchise or go into a longer deal. You know that's gonna happen. So I'm just curious, like, why not get it started?
What are we waiting on?
A lot earlier.
Like I said, I wasn't here to tell you what was right or wrong, but they're going to put the tag on them so that they have the time,
more time
to do so, and B, the ability to, nobody else can negotiate with them at that point. And they're also, I feel like they're going to explore all options. I'm not saying they're going to move George Pickens, but that is something that's on the table, right? If they say, look, do we have so many needs on defense that we feel like we need draft capital from this? My counter to that to be, and we talked about this on the draft show yesterday, you're probably not going to get much in return for George Pickens, maybe a second-round pick. And
DK Metcalf went for a 2nd and 7th, I think.
Exactly.
And then you flip 6. That's not a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. So is it worth it?
Hold on, because now your answer is bleeding into Derek's question.
Well, we're gonna get to. Well, but actually, that's where we're going.
I know. I can predict it.
So here's the question. Here's the question. If Dallas does use a franchise tag, which we think we would suspect they will, what do you think is more likely outcome? That they're using it to protect their rights and to keep him from going into free agency, or 2, they want to get another year without committing to a long-term deal, or 3, they want to look at the option of possibly trading him?
I think it's option 1. I don't think they want to let him go in free agency. I highly doubt George Pickens would play on the tag. I just don't see that. Like that's
how does that work though? Because here's the deal: it's one thing not to show up at training camp. It's a whole different thing when you get into the season and the games. Are you saying he would sit out a full year if that were the case?
No, I'm saying there's going to be a deal done before the season, and George Pickens will have
with the franchise tag. I think in the deadline, I think July 15th to have a deal before you can actually, that's the deadline to have a franchise tag player get a long-term deal.
I would expect there to be a deal done
before July 15th.
Yeah, as things stand right now. Obviously, everything, things changed so quickly with Mike after the Combine, it seemed like, because it seemed like just kind of done deal. What Ambar was talking about, what are we waiting for? I would expect, as things currently stand, that both sides get to a deal before then. They're going to use the tag initially. That you mentioned the report. That wasn't really breaking news
that's
to
not
anybody.
A report.
But I think they get a deal done before then. I think they recognize how different this offense can be with 2 number 1 receivers.
I absolutely agree with the tag. I think that's kind of the way it's going to go down. They're going to tag him and then get that contract going and try to work something out. However, I'm not quite sure on the timing of that, because yes, it sounds good, but we've seen it already. We've seen it that sometimes these conversations don't happen very quickly. Like, these deals don't always get done very quickly. And I don't want to go into a situation where he's not here during the off-season workouts, which, yes, he's proven to be what he is. We saw it last year. But that's something that's also very, very important, to be a part of these workouts and be around the team. And it just can create this whole dilemma. We saw it with, obviously, Micah. We've seen it with CD too. And I do think because you said July. So we're that's before starting training camp.
Right. The way I understand it, you can't go into training camp with there a possibility of him still getting a deal. He will either have a deal by then or he won't have a deal, and he'll have a franchise tag. And then it's just a situation of, is he going to play on that tag or is he going to sit out?
And the talk is
most players, I've never seen a player sit out for Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon was,
maybe the only guy I've ever seen do that. So again,
but there is a possibility based on on looking at the other hand of the other side is that he the participate in training camp, right?
No. The only way he wouldn't participate in camp is if he's basically saying, I'm going to sit out, which I don't know how that affects the money. And that's a question we can figure out of, does he get, is he getting fined for all that time as he's missing if he doesn't sign his franchise tag, or is he still considered unsigned to a franchise tag? I don't know how that works.
I would think he would probably have to do what Micah did last year, where he didn't participate, but he did a hold in, or he was there, he was present with the team, but he wasn't participating in.
But that wasn't a franchise tag situation, was it?
No, I'm just saying. But that was a pending kind of contract situation where maybe it's the same thing, maybe it's not. I have no idea.
Right. I guess the difference for me here is it's not like he can go to camp and then get a deal done. You will know by the time you get to training camp whether he's getting a new deal or not. And so if he's sitting out, then it's just his own protest of, I didn't get a deal.
But again, to be clear, franchise tag money is really good money.
Well, it's the average of top 5 at the position for a year. The thing is, it doesn't give you long-term security.
Your future.
But for the year, you get paid. I mean, it's a lot of money for a year, right? Yeah. I mean, there have been guys who have made a career out of getting franchise tags. Kirk Cousins has made a ton of money getting franchise tags, but it's no long-term security in it.
Right, and I think that would be the holdup with Pickens, because obviously you want that. Second contract is what so many NFL players strive for, and I think frankly he's earned it. And again, this can all change in a heartbeat. I think it did with Micah, because we were at the same time last year all sitting here saying, it's gonna happen. Only a matter of time, and it made so much sense. And right now Pickens makes a ton of sense, and it's a question of how much do we have on offense money-wise, because a majority of their cap is going to be on offense. If they've paid Dak, they've paid CD, they've paid Tyler Smith, they've paid Jake Ferguson, they're probably going to pay Javonte Williams. Now you're probably going to pay George Pickens too. What does that say about their defense?
Yep.
And so that's why I think you can see things changing on a dime. But I think the other big difference here is Micah's approach last year, if we're just comparing the situations, was much more hands-on in his negotiations, whereas George Pickens told us at the Pro Bowl, he's like, my agent's got that. I'm hands off. I'm not dealing with any of that, and I'm letting my agent take care of it. Does that make the process easier? Maybe. Does it make it more difficult? Also maybe.
Yeah.
So a lot of we'll see, but as things currently stand, like I said, I think they tag him initially and they get a deal done before camp.
Real quick before we go to break, Voch, tell me, of those 3 options, what do you think is more likely?
More than likely. Shouts out to Ambar too. She's right again. You know what I'm saying? I don't want the Joneses to come in this thing and try to win the negotiation. You know what I mean? I don't want them to be like, well, deadlines make deals. And blah, blah, blah. Man, let's just all be happy, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's just get that man his money, be happy, and just do our thing. So to answer your question, they're probably tagging him so that they can pay him later, just so he doesn't go and get some deal from, Green Bay for a lot of money. And boom. It's just keeping the Cowboys safe. That's, just to answer your question. But I just don't want Jerry, if you listening, you ain't. But if you listening, man, just take care of your business. I don't want Jerry and Steven and them to nickel and dime your superstar guys. Nickel and dime the middle of the roster cats, the bottom of the roster cats. Give GP his money, he earned it. You wanted to gamble on that 1 year, which was last year, to see how and look, he didn't get arrested. He ain't punched nobody in the stands. He didn't get pulled over. You know what I'm saying? He maybe like a little late for a meeting or something like that.
Nobody in the stands.
He did, like the other cat did. You know what I'm saying? The league don't say nothing about that though. But I just give him his money so that the offense can stay on a roll, so that you could just build on last year and not just GP walking around with an attitude. Just take care of your business.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our final break.
Everybody was right.
But to be clear too, real quick, when Jerry wants something, he gets it. So if he really wants Pickens, he's gonna get that deal done.
Right. Okay. Well, here's the deal. I want to take this break. When we come back,
they do.
I want to walk you guys down a path of this whole thinking that I don't know is being talked about enough as a part of this. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
At AT&T, we guarantee our network so you can talk college football with your BFF while taking Buster to the vet.
Hey, yeah, I can't believe he ate the whole thing of chicken wings.
And I can't believe we're staging a comeback. Touchdown!
Yes!
Staying connected matters. That's why in the rare event of a network outage, you'll automatically get a bill credit for a full day's service. For wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers, must be connected to impacted tower at onset of outage. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
How's it going? You see that Cowboys game?
Oh, I watched. Been seeing some good things.
Totally. They have some talent.
Yup, some great talent.
And they got some fight.
Hoping this is the year.
Me too. Oh, I'm Cody, by the way.
I'm Travis.
Nice to meet you, Travis. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys!
Make a new friend based solely on their shirt choice. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Back to the break.
AT&T connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. We're in the last segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, talking about George Pickens. I want to take you guys down a path, so just follow me on this, all right? So real quick, we're going to go around the table. I want each of you to just quickly, you don't have to give me an explanation. Do you think George Pickens will end up getting the top wide receiver money in the NFL, top 5, or top 10, or below that? Where do you think he will land when this deal is said and done?
In the NFL.
In the NFL.
Whether or not with the Cowboys.
Right. I'm saying just when it's all said, if he's going to be with the Cowboys or if he's going to be somewhere else, is he going to be the top guy? Is he going to be top 5? Is he going to be top 10? Or is he going to be below that?
I think like 5 or 6 makes sense. I don't think they're going to make him higher than Justin Jefferson or like Jamar Chase or something like that. I think the CeeDee Lamb thing is something that Mulugeta can use against him. Hey, look at what he did. You know, so I think he can have that conversation. But I don't think they'll let George get higher than 4. So I'm thinking 5 or 6.
Yeah, top 5 too.
Yeah.
I say top 5.
Okay. Now, I was hopeful you guys would say that.
Yeah.
Because here's the conversation that we need to have.
I got y'all where I want.
Master manipulator.
No, I'm just saying, I think this is the conversation we have to have.
Debate team, Derek.
Do you think it's smart roster construction when you start thinking about the fact that there is not a single team in the NFL that has 2 receivers that are in the top 10 in salary per year, average per year? You have several teams that have 2 guys in the top 20. Nobody has 2 in the top 10. And on top of that, your quarterback is the top, as I said before, he is the top paid quarterback by $5 million. It's not even close. He's at $60 million. The next closest guy is at $55.
Yeah.
On a defense that we saw last year, what you get, are you willing to sacrifice even more of your resources on an offense and do something nobody in the NFL is doing when you know you got to fix your defense?
The Super Bowl winner dictates the rules.
Yep.
The winner dictates the rules. If you win with Nick Foles, not everybody going, hey, man, we could possibly win without a superstar quarterback. If the Cowboys go out there and do their thing, the next big wave is about to be you need two receivers. The Eagles won with, I don't know what their money situation was like, but like the Eagles had two top tier receivers.
Two top 20.
Top 20 receivers.
Yeah, I think DK, not DK. AJ is in the top 10.
Sure.
And Devontae's in the top 20. I think he's like 16 or 17.
Okay, that's phenomenal for them.
Yeah.
But hey,
and by the way, here's some teams. I'll give you some examples. Here's some teams that are paying that kind of money. You've got Miami, who has 2 in the top 20. Horrible defense. Yeah. You got Cincinnati, who has 2 in the top 20. Yeah. Horrible defense. You got Detroit. Detroit, although they don't have a horrible defense, their defense has been part of the reason why they haven't quite been able to get to some of the places they're trying to go. So you do have to give something up in order to do that. And they I think, are a team that's very heavy when it comes to their resources on the offensive side of the ball. And then you've got Philadelphia, who has 2 in the top 20.
Yeah.
Well, the counterpoint I'd have to Detroit is they've been decimated by injuries on defense.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Their best defensive player has been out. Yeah.
I think if you're the Cowboys, you're hoping to follow 2 blueprints: the Bengals or the Lions. Because the Lions, we talked about, they have defensive players. It's just they can't stay on the field at the same time. Yeah. Cincinnati, remember, they went to the Super Bowl. Granted, it was when I think T. Higgins and Jamar were still on their rookie deals.
Yeah, they were not making the money they make now.
But
by the way, they had a better defense at that point. Their defense was much better than it is now.
Much better, but not by a lot. I don't think they were all
right now. Right now, Cincinnati in total defense, I think, was 3rd.
Oh, much better
they're
than
horrible.
Yeah,
right
they're
now.
terrible.
They're
now.
like the Cowboys as far as defense is concerned.
But they're not. They were not a. You look at Cincinnati and say, "Oh my gosh, that defense."
But that's my point.
Yeah,
my point is when you're dedicating that many resources to quarterback and 2 wide receivers,
right?
Is this what you get on defense? As opposed to back when they were still on those rookie deals, they could afford to have a much better defense.
What you need is the inverse. If you're going to pay your offensive guys, you need to hit on rookies and young players, or find some gems in free agency on defense. Because if you can't do that, then it's going to make it really tough.
Is that good roster construct? Is that a good plan, though? Because, again, what we've seen in the NFL right now is playing good defense is the way to win a championship, right?
Is it the textbook plan? No. But does that mean it can't necessarily work? Also, no. But I do think it makes it much more difficult.
Let me ask the table this. Sorry, Chad. Let me ask the table this. Let's live in La La Land for 2 seconds. Don't worry about Cowboys defense. How do you think the Cowboys offense, currently constructed, how do you think the Cowboy offense fares against the Seattle defense and the Patriots defense in a Super Bowl situation? A hypothetical virtual Super Bowl situation. Do you think that the Cowboys offense, currently constructed, could put up points on those defenses?
I don't think crazy points. I don't think they're hitting 30.
I could see him hitting 30.
I think they can hit 30.
Well, let me ask you this: we saw some games this year where the offense didn't put up a lot of points against some better defense, like against Minnesota. What happened? Like there have been some good defenses they played against Denver. Yeah. When they played good defense this year. Now that doesn't mean the offense goes to nothing.
Sure,
but it ain't what it usually is, and that's my point.
I think that this Cowboys are. I was just watching like Drake May or whatever, right? Some of the things that Seattle was doing to Drake May. I was like, man, they'll never do that to Dak. Dak will know what to do versus that. Or with Sam Darnold and Drake May are limited in certain places that Dak is not.
Absolutely.
Christian Gonzalez locked up Jackson and Jigba.
Yeah.
He got hurt, locked up Cooper Kupp, and that Seattle offense looked a little weird for a second, right?
The run game was what got him.
You would have to do that totally different with Pickens and Lamb. The Cowboys just not in the Super Bowl, so we just haven't seen that. I think the Cowboys offense currently constructed, I think it'll be foolish to assume that Pickens can go away and we can find similar production. Because if you're going to win a championship, it's going to have to be through Dak. It's going to have to be through 4. I want him to be as comfortable as he could possibly be.
Okay, so here's the question.
For sure.
What were the things that Minnesota, let's talk about Minnesota and Denver. What were the things they did defensively to slow down this offense?
Tell me what they do. That was a long time. Watching the draft now. What they
Denver was just, they've got 11 dudes on the field.
Yeah.
And I think their defensive line was getting home. That was a bad game for the offensive line. Surtain didn't really even play that much because he was getting banged up.
Yeah.
So It was more just.
It was up front, right?
It was up front, and I really think that opening drive where they get the pick from Jaquise Bridges on like the third play of the game, drive down the field, get to the one, and they just get stuffed.
Yeah.
That told you like, okay, they just can't win in the trenches, and this is a trench league. When you can't win there, it's going to be a struggle. That's what would give me fits about Seattle.
Sure.
Right.
We're talking about Super Bowl teams. What wouldn't give me fits is what you said, where a lot of the younger player mistakes that Drake May made is not something that you would expect Dak Prescott to make.
Yeah.
So that gives me hope that, okay, you could see this offense, if they're playing their best and they're in rhythm and they're clicking, score 30 points.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and we'll get to see this next year at some point because they play the Seahawks, and they're going to bring a lot of the same guys back. There were way too many instances this year where you look at this team and you say, this offense is way too good to only put up 19, 18 points in this game or whatever the point total was.
But when did that typically happen? It happened when they were playing
when they were playing much better
And again,
teams.
that's not a – and I know you say those are 11 dudes in Denver. I believe that a lot of those 11 dudes are dudes that are in a great scheme and a great fit for them that makes them dudes.
No doubt.
I don't know if you put those guys on the Cowboys last year, I don't think they would have played in the same way. Maybe Surtain, because Surtain's just different.
Sure.
But I don't think a lot of those guys would have. I think Minnesota's another great prime example. I don't think that those are dudes. I think they had a good game plan and a good scheme, and it started with the trenches. They were not going to let the Cowboys run on them, and because they couldn't run on them, then they could use those resources on the back end to take care of those two wide receivers. And, yeah, you might give up some yards, but at the end of the day, they weren't giving up nearly the points that the Cowboys had been used to giving. So my point still comes back to, in the NFL, you're going to have some games where I don't care how good your offense is, you're going to have those games where you run up against a really good defense. Do you have the defense to match? If you have all your resources on the offensive side of the ball, are you giving yourself a chance in those kind of games?
I think for the Cowboys, their best chance to win, I think it has to be with Pickens. And all those great defenses have like weird offenses that aren't like super top tier like that.
Yeah.
I think your best chance is to win with Pickens and to build your defense as best as possible. I forgot who I was listening to Landlord and Henny on YouTube. Shouts out to them. Those are real people's names. They was like, if we're gonna play without GP, you need to promise me a top 5 defense. I don't think the Cowboys can build a top 5 defense right now. So I think my best option is just roll with GP and build the best defense you possibly can.
Seattle built one in 1 year.
We ain't done.
Why not?
We ain't done.
Tell me why not?
Do you think
why can't
do you think the Joneses can? How much money did New England spend last year? Last year building their defense. A stupid amount of money. I don't know if the Joneses are going to hit all the buttons on all their contract players to get all that money and then spend all that on defensive
you're
dudes.
saying will they?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying they can.
They have the ability to do a lot of things.
No, that's my point. That's my point. So Seattle, in the same way Seattle decided, you know what? We're tired of messing around with this.
Sure.
We're going to get rid of the quarterback we got because we think we can upgrade that, which a lot of people were like, huh? Really? They're going to do that? And then we're going to go out and spend on our defense, and we're going to bring in the right players, and we think this guy, McDonald, has the ability to press all the right buttons to make this defense into a top defense, and that's exactly what they did.
If Jerry and Steven are sick and tired of being sick and tired, then they'll send a pick to some team for some disgruntled player, and that's a hell of a start. That's how I'm saying, like, top 5 defense. That's where it'll start for me, to go and get one of them cats that's disgruntled on some part of the country, I can't say, and then build the rest of your team there. And if that has to be without GP, you have to promise me one of them kind of guys.
Yeah.
And look, on that topic, because it's floating around social media, I'm not trading GP 1-for-1 for that disgruntled guy, for some disgruntled pass rush. I'm not going to do that. So I'm just...
Well, I guess the point that I'm making is I wouldn't be shocked if the Cowboys took the route of, let's franchise tag him.
Mm-hmm.
We can have him for a year. Let's not commit to the long term of we're going to now have 2 guys that are top 5. As you guys have all said.
Like that's what's going to happen.
That's what I'm starting to think. But as you guys all said, if he's going to get top 5 money, they're going to commit to paying the top quarterback in the NFL and 2 of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL. I think you're going to be totally hamstring long term. And I think they might, right now, I would guess that the better option would be if you have an opportunity to franchise him for a year and then still be able to use those resources to try to start building up that defense.
Yeah.
You got to hit it out of the park in the draft this year. You absolutely have to because you don't have as many picks. You got to kill the draft this year.
Sure.
That gives you your best chance for the long term. It also gives you another year to see is Ryan Flanoy a real number 2?
Yeah.
Right? We don't know that. He showed us signs this year that he can play.
Yeah.
Can he be a true number 2? I don't know. I think they probably want more information on that.
Yeah.
So I just, if I'm looking at this holistically and I'm looking at all the trends of the NFL, I'm looking at the finances, if it were my decision, I might go the route of saying I would prefer to maybe put him on a franchise tag, have one more year with him.
Sure.
And then make a decision on what I want to do long term.
I don't think we would mind GP playing on the tag, but I don't think the agent will let that happen. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was going to be my point. Is I don't know if George Pickens is going to be willing to play on the tag. Could he be? Maybe. Who knows? I mean, you
don't have much of an option when you're tagged.
You sit out.
But that's the thing. We have seen one player do that. Now, most players are not willing to say, I'm going to take a year in my prime to not play football.
Yeah,
that's a hard decision.
I think there's a lot more
very hard
close
decision.
to sitting out for the play. For
Sure,
Pickens.
I'm not disagreeing with
don't
you.
It's a
very
I'm
hard
just saying that's
an option.
Still an option.
It's an
that's
option.
on the table.
Yeah, it's definitely an option.
Would it happen? Who knows? I think. Look, if you're going to do that and you're going to pay George Pickens, your best approach has to be, if we're talking Super Bowl teams, you have to build like the Patriots did. It's different because they've got a rookie quarterback who's not being paid $60 million a year. But when you talk about changing everything this offseason, you need to. One, spend in free agency because they go and they get, Milton Williams and those kinds of guys. And then if you look at their draft class, man, like all of their defensive guys that they got made an impact. Like Craig Woodson especially. What a game he had in the Super Bowl. And they
got to kill the draft
all year. You've got to make sure you hit your picks, not just the first 2 picks, but if you get a day 2 pick through whatever means that may be, or you're in your day 3 picks, you've got to find those diamonds in the rough late that can help you immediately and help you quickly. So, we talk about, and they've talked about, we'll take the best player available at 12 and 20. I honestly don't think they can afford that. I think they need to go defense on both of those picks.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation. I get nervous when you start saying, give me a I gotta get a defensive player, because that's how you not get a CeeDee Lamb. That's how you end up in a situation where you get a Taco Charlton. I think you make mistakes when you say, I just gotta get something at this position or on this side of the ball, versus saying, I'm going to take the player that's best available to me that that can play immediately. I think that's a caveat that you could say. Like you would say, I'm not going to take a quarterback because he ain't playing. That I need guys that can play now. But when you start saying, I got to get a defensive player, or I got to get an edge rusher, I think you make mistakes like that.
If you have guys who are closely graded, you got your offensive player who's higher, and you've got 3 defensive players that you don't have as high, but still need on.
They better be
defensive end, linebacker,
very close.
Corner. That's what I'm saying.
They better be touching tags. Let's put it like that, to use y'all's draft analogy. Y'all draft the draft term.
Like that, man.
They better be touching tags. I mean, they got to be that close to where I'm like, these are comparable players. I'm not taking a risk on a guy just because I need a position.
If it's a huge jump, I'm with you. I don't think you can afford to do that. But if it's close enough to where you're weighing the options, you need defense.
Okay, this was just a quick Google search, so I don't know how accurate it was or not. But
you don't trust Google?
That's why I said I don't know how accurate, and we're way past the end of the
Ambar, been ready to go.
But
right,
I'm hungry. Lunch. But it says they would forfeit their entire salary for that season, and according to this, it says that the players are subject to a $50,000 fine each day they hold out.
Wait, during camp or during the season?
This says it doesn't specify. But it says it's them holding out under the franchise tag.
Per game or per day, did you say?
Per day.
Oh! And that's what I was talking about.
So
not only you're not getting paid, you're actually getting money back. Yeah, you get money.
That's what I was talking about with Micah during his training camp. Is I was wondering if that was the same situation. Because remember, George Pickens on a rookie deal. So
we got to get some info on that and figure out if that's how. Because if that's how it works, that's why players don't sit out. Is because
it's a lot of money.
That's a ton of money.
Game checks and 50 a day. That's stupid.
All right. Appreciate you guys, Jonas. We'll be back next week. We'll get back into our player review, go through some more positions. We're going to talk about the running back position next week, because I think there's some interesting conversations there, particularly with Javonte Williams and some of the guys that are coming up in free agency. I think there's some interesting conversations to be had. We'll do that next week. Till then, for Voch Lombardi, Tommy Yarrish, Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!